Greetings, mortals, and welcome back to me being early, because reasons.
I'm tired enough that if I don't just start, I'm gonna fall asleep. So we're just starting. We're just starting before I just fall asleep at the desk. Oh shit! Was I supposed to start stream? Whoa! I'm not gonna fall asleep at the desk. I can't fall asleep sitting up. So we're gonna dick around talking for a bit before I start. I'm not gonna start the actual game until 9 o'clock, but we can dick around. So, how's it going? I was up late last night partying, okay? I was partying hard. I was, catching crabs on the bed of the ocean. It was wild. I was cleaning up garbage. I was playing Coral Island with my wife last night until midnight. These things happen. These things happen. It was also very funny because in an earlier session she had been complaining about the fact that the NPCs are just okay, well, you just you go up to them and talk to them and they say a word or a sentence and then that's all you can do with them for the day. It's okay, well, how the hell am I supposed to learn anything about this person? And then she unlocked the hangout mechanic and apparently it's okay, well, you can just do 30 different activities with this random person that you barely know and learn a bunch of stuff about them, and you have dialogue choices and shit, and it's oh wait, it is Persona. Okay, that's cool. I do not have high enough affection with anyone on the island for that, because the only people that give a shit about the things that I'm doing, I'm not able to actually complete the quests for, so they don't give a shit about me. Also, I wouldn't be interested in talking to them, honestly. One thing that I do with those kinds of games is that whenever I'm doing the mining sections, I do a full pacifist. I don't fight any of the monsters that are down there. And the problem is that there's a quest that's okay, well, kill 30 monsters, and it's well, I'm never completing this, so none of the humans are ever going to give a shit about what I'm doing in the mines. Which is fine or whatever, but it's funny. It's all good. It's all good. Also, hey, Silksong coming out tomorrow. I have it on good authority. My phone tells me that Silksong tomorrow. And Ethermancer next month, so we're going to be busy beavers. We're going to be very busy beavers. Look, my phone would never lie to me. Clearly, Silksong's coming out tomorrow. This is just a true fact about our world. So tomorrow we'll be doing Silksong, and then next month we'll be doing Ethermancer, and that'll be good. Both of these are, I'm sure, official announcements of their releases. Actually, one of the two is an official announcement of their release. I do know the release date of one of the two titles. You can guess which one. You can guess which one. The devs making clown emotes is a very funny idea. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Let's get this shit over with. Let's get into... What am I doing? Fighting trolls or something? Not bugs. Let's see here. I also picked up Wuthering Waves to act as a stand-in for Genshin Impact. And we'll see if I can get through the tutorial of it. And I am tempted to play a bunch of this game up until the point where I can't because I just don't want to play it anymore, and act the entire time like I'm playing Genshin Impact. And just be like, okay, so finally we're doing a review of Genshin Impact, and I'm just playing this a completely different game. And I don't know if it really has anything in common. So, I have updated already. We need to copy paste over to here. I was thinking about like actually doing that this morning, but then I was too tired to bother doing the bit. But I probably should have. There's only so many bits I can do in one morning, you know? That's not the right title, is it? Is that the title that I titled this? I guess it is. It was called The Genshin Killer. Okay, well I'll have to play a bit of it. I'm assuming that I'm gonna hate it, right? Like I can't imagine that I'm gonna enjoy this. Like I wasn't kidding when I said like, okay, well why would I play some like mobile game, you know, version of an action game when I could play like Devil May Cry from 1998. It's not from 1998. It's from the early 2000s. Let's not pretend that things are older than they actually are. Things are old enough already. But I think it'll be funny. I think it'll be funny, and who knows? It might be surprisingly good. I do not assume that it will be, but it could be funny. And it doesn't cost me anything to make a joke about it and to do a little memery. I mean, except, you know, my finite time on this planet, which, you know, given the way that I spent an hour killing that dragon, I clearly have no respect for it anyway, so... Look, given that it took me an hour to kill that dragon, and if I had failed to kill it, I would have willingly gone back in and fought it again. You know, it does give you some indication. It is funny, though. I haven't heard the term, like, the X-Killer in, like, so many years. Like, everything was the WoW killer for a while, right? But, like, nobody talks about anything like killing Dark Souls, right? Like, nobody's like, oh, this new Dark Souls killer, right? They just call them Dark Souls clones. It's an interesting dynamic that, like, that has, like, I feel like mostly faded away as a way of narrativizing new games. At least to be fair, I also don't look at games media nearly as much anymore, so there is that as well. Maybe they do say it all the time. This is gonna be one of those. God, what was the expression? The Bush derangement syndrome situations where it's like, oh well, it turns out I just don't watch any of like the psychos who use these kind of terminology. But every game is an online game now, right? Like everything is some. That's interesting. That's a new type of crash. There was like an actual like stopping and then an audio glitch and then the crash. I wonder what happened there. Huh. Well, it's a good thing I save for quite frequently. I didn't get an error either. Like typically when I get like a crash in this, I would get like an error code that would show up. Unusual. Okay, so how was I getting... Whoa, Jesus! Oh, you're swift? Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, we have to come from the other side, I assume. Where is... It's gotta be close. Do we just walk by you? Are you stuck? I think you might be stuck until I actually get close. Can I make this work? No. That's swamp troll. That's gonna be a problem. That's a problem. That right there, that's an issue for me. Because I don't really want to go... I guess I'll just go this way first. We'll clear out the ones that are by the archers first. Rotate around. You know, we actually might have to pull that into the archers. We might not have a choice in that. We might actually need to do that. Hey, Tozier Cat. It only took us 2 streams to clear Griffinheart Castle. It's a miracle. It was so fast. I was in the middle of an argument with... yeah, I gotta reload. I was in the middle of an argument with chat about apparently whether K-pop is similar to American pop, like specifically like boy bands circa early 2000s. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. And I will say that I talked to my wife about it. And she did say, well, I could see the similarity. It's kind of like mid-2000s pop if it was actually good. Like early 2000s American pop if it was actually good. I can see the message that you sent, Celestial. So, look, I'm not going to say that I accept this position, because I don't. But I will say that I can't be as aggressively anti this position as long as I now have a principal opponent in my stance that there's no similarity for my wife. Look, this is the issue, okay? Let's see. The thing that I would say about it, if I were to give a more nuanced perspective, is that K-pop to me sounds a lot like it has commonalities with things like synth pop in terms of like the actual tools being used. And I don't know enough about music to say much more than that. And saying even that belies my lack of understanding of what the term synth pop even means. And also what K-pop is, because I'm familiar with Blackpink and that's it. Look, all I'm saying is that Blackpink doesn't sound like NSYNC, and you know what? I stand by that statement. Let's see. Yeah, I suspect that today's going to go fairly smoothly. That's not true. We are very likely going to have things go smoothly enough that we start doing Markham's Estate. And if we start doing Markham's Estate, that could go really badly for us, really bad. My assumption is that noise pop is very noisy. I feel like on some level, all pop is noise pop. That's my thinking. Look, I've been adjacent to all sorts of random musical trends over the years, okay? I just don't know anything about any of them. I actually remember I had a friend who was actually like a music major when this was before, no, this was when I was in college. So in college I had a music major friend. I was going to say it was before I started college, but it was before I started college in a different state than the one that I started in. I just realized that I did in fact do some college at a different college. But the I remember there was some like thing that was happening, like musically, and I actually like took my friend by surprise by having a good enough ear to be able to like I don't know what it was. I was like predicting what was coming next in the beat or something like that. I don't remember the details, but I remember them being surprised by it. And it's actually kind of funny because I feel like I have a fairly good ear and absolutely like no comprehension of the theory or whatchamacallit behind it. So it leads to this very funny thing where it's like I will very frequently have other people that I know that are as musically literate as me, but with a different ear than mine, shall we say, make mistakes, and I have no idea how to how to tell them what's wrong with their interpretation of what's happening, because I just don't have the theory for it. I don't really... The thing that's funny is that I kind of have an ear for music and I don't have a head for it, is the thing that I would describe it as. That I just think is kind of funny. It's like, okay, like, a lot of things come very easily to me from, like a reasoning perspective, and music isn't really one of them. General relativity is the other big... Well, actually, is it special relativity or general relativity? It's probably general. No, it's probably special. I don't know which type of relativity it is. Relativity also doesn't come naturally to me. This may come as a shock. I find it very confusing. Look, how can you age at a different speed if speed is relative? What if my speed relative to object A is one thing and is respective to object B is a different thing? I shouldn't use A and B. I should use A is me, B is object 1, and C is object 2. What if my speed relative to object B indicates that I should be aging at one rate relative to object B, but which is misaligned with my speed with object relative to object C, that indicates that I should be aging at a different relative speed to object C than would be implied by my speed relative to object B and object B's speed relative to object C. I have two ages at the same time. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. This relativity shit, I think it needs to go back to the drawing board because it isn't intuitively comprehensible to me. No shot. No shot. Anyway, point being, musical theory is relativity. They're equally, complicated and make very little sense intuitively. That's the point. They're both the same thing. Look, relativity's weird. And it's okay that it's weird. Look, most likely the thing with relativity is that relativity, in the context of what I was just discussing, when it comes to like approaching light speed, is that you can only approach light speed if you're a particle, and particles don't give a shit, okay? Like, it doesn't matter as much. Particles are simpler. Like, what it means to have a different, relative experience of time means a different thing when you're talking about a particle than it does when you're talking about a bajillion particles, because I'm a bajillion particles in a specific coherent framework. And it's entirely reasonable to think that, okay, maybe relativity breaks down when you don't do it right by trying to apply it to things that it can't be applied to, okay? Maybe it's just that simple, and it makes perfect intuitive sense, because it's like, oh yeah, the intuitive, sensible thing is you just can't approach the speed of light as a person. You can't be a person and approach the speed of light. You stop being a person as you approach the speed of light, because you're everything about you dissolves. Literally. Well, not literally. Dissolving would imply that you're in a solution. You get the idea. You get the idea. Also, I just got paralyzed. We have to reload, unfortunately. I don't have the ability to cure that. We do not have expert... Do we have expert mind? We do not have expert mind, so even if we had the spell, we couldn't cure it. I don't know how we got into relativity. I do know how we got into relativity. We got into relativity because relativity and Blackpink are the same thing.
I've never seen one.
Blackpink's music travels at relativistic speeds across the planet. It all checks out. They're called Blackpink because they generate a black hole anytime they release a new album via the speed with which it traverses the world. This all works. This all makes sense. It is part of a cohesive worldview. It's true. You should take notes. It's very important to learn about relativity from a person who fundamentally doesn't understand the way that the implications of it could be true. Well, okay. I'm not gonna lie. Look, it's entirely possible, also, that mechanically speaking, even though relative speeds are relative, right? That speed is relative to an observer versus an object, or it's a relationship. Speed is a relationship between two objects. It's not like an absolute characteristic. It's possible that speed as a property is always in some degree of proportion relative to three objects. So if you have three objects, they can't have that huge a difference in the relative speed. As you're approaching relativistic speeds, there isn't a real way to have a big difference between your perceived relationship between A and B, the perceived relationship between B and C, and the perceived relationship between C and A. It's possible that the math all just sorts itself out, even though it doesn't technically sound like it has to, right? But it's possible that it just works out and it's fine and the math is just easy, which as we established yesterday, in physics, tends to be the case that the math just turns out to be really easy and convenient for them. So there is that. there is the physicists tend to have convenient mathematics angle of it all. That maybe the universe is a frictionless sphere. That is a possibility. That is a possibility. Okay, we aggroed some. My hope is that we can pull the ones that we just aggroed. With like half of them at a time. Did you all consolidate into one pile where you won't even move away from each other? You bastards. You're cursed, right? Not weak. Okay, I think I have exactly the same enemies. I think there's a mountain on my... Yep. Okay, I'm gonna try to disengage. Because if I can disengage and just have the two mountains to deal with from full HP, we might be okay. They're not super fast. I say, as they are clearly approaching me too quickly for me to possibly get away from this way. Okay, they are not going off toward the town. They are somehow missing me with every shot. Okay, well, I mean, I did hit a wall. But, like, I was gonna say, like, I feel like I don't deserve to be having all these shots missing, but... Okay. How do I handle this? Those are not bolstered, so they are level 5, and will just die the second attacks land on them. Yeah, this is rough. But yeah, we are in peak silk posting mode because there is actual Silksong news going on, and I'm not really looking at it because it's funnier to silk post. It's funnier to silk post. I have heard through the grapevine, by which I mean I saw a YouTube short that said that the person involved would be playing Silksong in 48 hours, right? And no one would ever lie in a YouTube short. Therefore, like, I'm pretty sure you can't. I think that the algorithm prevents it. I mean, they have all that AI shit working on the YouTube shorts now. Probably they have some AI shit that's blocking you from lying. I definitely believe that.
I haven't seen this kind before.
If you say any lie, they just like delete the lie and replace it with a true sentence. That's how AI is used on YouTube. Source, trust me, bro. We do need some Mad Leech on these Umas. They are really struggling. I am happy that we're doing the Minotaur run after getting bored of Uma Musume, because it is... And it's an appropriate... whatchamacallit? It's an appropriate successor run. Come on, Kingdom Hearts... Look. We're on Kingdom Hearts, like, 37 at this point, right? Like... They've probably got Kingdom Hearts 4, like, cooking, right? And it's going to have, like, no characters other than Disney characters, and it's just going to be a retelling of the plot of Frozen 3. I feel like that's pretty much what, the next Kingdom Hearts is going to be. Though, look, I'm not going to lie. Okay, if you want Kingdom Hearts 4, you have it. It's called Final Fantasy VII Remake. Okay, that is Kingdom Hearts. It's like, let's be clear here. That's Kingdom Hearts. They just took Organization 13 and moved them into Final Fantasy VII Remake. It has the same storytelling strategy of just like we're just making it up as we go along, and we're just gonna blatantly like faff around. It's the Lost strategy of storytelling. Is that slander against the Final Fantasy VII Remake or against Kingdom Hearts? No. It's the same creative team making the same creative decisions. They did the same thing to the Final Fantasy VII story that they do to Kingdom Hearts. Come on. Starting with Kingdom Hearts 1.2... Look, has any Kingdom Hearts game that doesn't include a bunch of Final Fantasy characters ever needed to exist? It was the entire premise of the game series. Was mixing the intellectual property of Nintendo with the intellectual property of Square Enix. That was the whole point. And now it's just a Disney game. It's true. It was one of my major complaints about Kingdom Hearts 2 was the diminishment of the role of the Final Fantasy NPCs, who were critically important to the plot, and the lack of, like, let's be honest, the like Kingdom Hearts original IP characters are not, strong characters. Kingdom Hearts is light, except sometimes it's dark. Except the rest of the series fully undermines the ending of Kingdom Hearts. The ending of the original Kingdom Hearts is that the human heart is light, actually, and then. Spoiler alerts for the original Kingdom Hearts. I'm sorry, but also the original Kingdom Hearts is lying to you, so you can't be spoiled because canonically it's untrue now. So. Kingdom Hearts isn't light anymore. Kingdom Hearts is dark again, which means that the villains were right the entire time, and Kingdom Hearts is the heart of humanity is evil. That it is in fact the heart of darkness, right? Like that's like canon now. Is that the actual ending of the original Kingdom Hearts was incorrect because Kingdom Hearts is darkness, not light. I think the Pro ZD sketch nails it, though. Yes, but no, but yes. Look, yes, but no, but yes, meaning yes in Kingdom Hearts 2, no in Kingdom Hearts 3, yes in Kingdom Hearts 1.5, yes in Kingdom... Because it changes every game. Okay, don't Navi post, okay? Hey, listen. Sorry, that was like a really deep random cut. I don't know why seeing listen, I just immediately thought of Navi. I haven't played Ocarina of Time in so many years. I cannot be contained. I cannot be controlled. Know this even as you post, ever pathetic, ever fools. We're just going to do deep cuts for days. It's just going to be... Look, we're just be quoting random characters all day. That's what it's going to be. Look. Kingdom Hearts 3... really undermined the ability that I have to be, like... for me to believe that they're ever going to make a good Kingdom Hearts game ever again. Kingdom Hearts was really good. Like, that was a really solid game. Like, for its time, solid game. Did a really interesting thing with a really interesting premise. It suffers these days because of the fact that like Kingdom Hearts' premise is one that like every media company is doing all the time now, because like there's only two media companies and they own every IP, right? And so Kingdom Hearts 2 was an evolution of the systems in a lot of ways that did a really good job with some things, and really, look, I am going to say that in my opinion, the creative director who is responsible for these titles has a problem with women. I'm just going to say that. They have a problem with writing women, and they have a problem with writing women that, like, are coherently useful to the narrative. Okay? Kyrie has really, really gotten, like, screwed in the narrative, and that's never gonna change. Like, Kyrie keeps being, like, they keep like acting like Kyrie is going to at some point be useful, but she has the problem. Isn't this is like what happened to like is it Sakura in Naruto, right? Where it's like you have this person who is ostensibly some like super badass, but is like absolutely completely useless at all times. I never watched Naruto. This is secondhand information. Okay, this is secondhand. Yeah, and I don't think it's the entire team. I think it's the creative lead. I think it's the people who are in charge of the team have like a problem with women, right? Because you run into a thing with a lot of media that's made by big development teams, where you'll see like the inklings of what was a really good idea get like quashed within the actual like overarching narrative, right? So you have like moments of genius, and the reason that you have those moments of genius is they're made by different people. Every moment in the game is made by a different person. Like when you look at like the writing in a movie, you don't have one screenwriter for a movie. That went through like 17 script revisions, right? So each of those script revisions had new people adding new ideas to it and subtracting old ideas from it, and this, that, and the other thing. So you'll see that someone along the line got a really clever idea, right? It might have been in the original script. It might have been in version 3 of the script. It might have been in version 7 of the script. Doesn't matter. Someone had a really cool idea, and there's like a hint of that cool idea in minute 32 of 90. And then they never reference that really cool and interesting thing that would make the entire movie better if it was like leaned into ever again, right? You see that a lot with movies, right? Let's see. In terms of Kingdom Hearts 2, in my opinion, is better in some ways than the original Kingdom Hearts. The Kingdom Hearts 1 combat, to me, feels slow and clunky compared to 2's. And I feel like the addition of hitting triangle to do certain actions actually legitimately adds a lot. I think that they do some weird, funky stuff with it sometimes. Some of the super bosses feel very, like... Some of the super bosses, to me, felt like... you're just spamming triangle continuously, waiting for the boss to do the one thing that it will do that you can actually counter, right? There are some problems with Kingdom Hearts 2 mechanically, but like from a narrative perspective, it's kind of a mixed bag. They do some stuff that's interesting, some stuff that's not. Oh, in terms of sexism, it's hard to say. The first game, Kyrie is a small child and is kidnapped for most of the game, and there are no other women in the narrative. Unless you count the dragon. Like, you have so in terms of like the actual meta narrative, right? The meta narrative, the only women that are relevant, who like you have like Yuffie and Aerith, who have like what, like 3 lines of dialogue the entire time. Like they don't really have much to do. They're there with Squall to give a few bits of expository dialogue, right? They don't really do very much. They're not really, like, as characters, they're not really there for that much, other than to be like, oh, there's a Final Fantasy character here. That's cool, right? I'm trying to think if any of the... but, like, the characters from the actual, like, Disney stuff are all following their character arcs from the movies. So there isn't any creative control on the part of the development team there in any of the movies, right? The Square Enix writing team does not have creative control over what Elsa does in the game, right? They have to get everything moderated by what Disney says that they're allowed to do with Elsa or with Beauty or with... her name's Belle, not Beauty. It's basically the same thing. It's just a different language, right? Oh, wait. I just realized that we aggroed these, and it's fine. Well, mechanically, they just couldn't, because they don't have... Like, Disney has creative control over the script, right? Like, the script is not a thing that they can do. Like, they can't do whatever they want, because Disney has to look at the final product and approve it, which is why the Frozen section is the way that it is. Like, you'll see in the Frozen section of Kingdom Hearts 3 the direct interference of Disney in the creative process, right? We don't... The implication is that Elsa was the original boss of that section. You were going to fight Elsa. And then all of a sudden, the entire narrative takes like a hard left turn into this other weird random thing. And then you're in a place that was clearly something that would have been created by Elsa, but was instead made by some random Org 13 member instead. And then after that, you get shunted into a boss fight with... like the villain of that movie who's been turned into a dog for reasons, right? Like, it's like this completely out of nowhere, like, hard left turn, like, very obviously late in the process, someone at Disney said, no, you can't do this. You're not allowed to do this. This thing that you're trying to do, you have to completely rewrite this so that, like, basically... you cannot have the boss fight be against someone who is aligned with Elsa. You cannot do this. We're nixing this. You have to change everything that leads up to this. And they did a bad job of connecting the dots once they had to make that choice, right? And that's not necessarily the wrong choice to make. I don't think that that's the wrong choice to make, especially when you remember how bad the creative team of Kingdom Hearts is when it comes to their characters who are women, right? Who do I trust more to write, like, to know what goes past the line when it comes to a female character between, like, the Kingdom Hearts development team and Square Enix? And Disney. I hate to tell you, but I do actually think that Disney knows better than they do where those lines need to be drawn. Because I think everyone knows. Like, it's a cold take to say that there's a problem with the way that women are handled in that series, okay? That's a real cold take. So anyway, point being, in Kingdom Hearts 1, because there really aren't any women in the narrative, in the meta-narrative that goes beyond individual worlds, it's hard to say whether they did a better job with them, because it's like, well, they don't exist, right? So, like, I think they did a good job with Maleficent.
Maleficent as a character, they do a perfect job with her. Like the cartoonishly evil, not even human, like witch character, she's done great, right? Like that is a top tier villain in Kingdom Hearts 1, right? Like they do such a good job with Maleficent, right? Which goes beyond the scope of the intellectual property, right? Like Maleficent in Kingdom Hearts nails the attitude and the vibe that makes Maleficent a cool character, but she's not just rotely following the plot of her movie, right? Sleeping Beauty is not a plot point in the game, right? Like the plot of Sleeping Beauty doesn't exist within the plot of Kingdom Hearts, right? Isn't it like presumably some of those plot elements happened at some point in the past, but it's not something that's shown on screen, right? That's not a portion that we interact with. So Maleficent they did a great job with. But like Yuffie, there's nothing wrong with the way that they handled Yuffie. There's nothing wrong with the way that they handled Aerith. Like I think that Minnie's role gets really like sidelined. Like Minnie and Daisy's role gets sidelined in a way that's like, I think it would have been cool to see like Minnie do something, right? But she doesn't have to, right? Like Minnie is a pretty sidelined character within the Disney mythos. I wouldn't expect them to do a ton with Minnie, right? Like that's not a thing that I necessarily expect. But the issue that you run into is the fact that like you're kind of like running out of characters to do interesting stuff with, right? So yeah, but bear in mind that the narrative doesn't have any women in it, not as like an accident. That was a creative choice that they made, right? So the fact that Kingdom Hearts doesn't really have any women in it is sort of like foreshadowing of the way that the rest of the series is going to handle women. Because eventually they have to start implementing women into the plot, and when they do, they don't really know what to do with them, right? So that's what I would say is that it's not like the fact that Kingdom Hearts 1 doesn't have any women in it, really, other than the one who's been kidnapped, isn't that unusual. It's not particularly strange for like a Disney style like movie, right? Like everyone's parents don't exist. Everyone's parents are already dead when the plot begins, right? Like that's like a whole meme about like Disney films in the first place. This is like the first time that we've done this style of cheese, but I don't know what else we're gonna do. This is a swift boss. I'm gonna die, aren't I? One of these archers is gonna rotate around behind me. There you are. Okay, we're moving. Okay, we're gonna try to get the kill. We got the kill. Nailed it. Okay, we didn't die. The other bosses, if there are any, I'm going to try to do something else with, but that one was swift, and I just don't want to deal with it. We're not going to worry about it too much. I'm not in the mood to try to rescue every random soldier of a person that we're going to be stealing from in a second anyway. I'm just not in the mood for it. So, it's all good. But yeah, Aqua as a character, I don't know a ton about because I haven't played all of the random like side games, right? But what I will say is that, considering how much I know about like fucking, what's the guy who looks just like Roxas? What's his name again? Is it Roxas with 2 X's? Ventus? Okay, so not Roxas. Considering how much I know about not Roxas's plot, even though I can't remember his name, and he's literally just Roxas, Like, because I know his whole storyline. I know what's going on with him. I know his whole thing. I know he's got, like, some fucking weird Chosen One shit with some X-blade. What is it, a Kai blade? Is that the way that it's pronounced, a Kai blade? Like, Kai is in, like, one of the fucking Greek alphabet symbols. Fucking they went crazy with this fucking series. Anyway, considering how much I know about that guy, and I can't even remember his name, and I played the game that Aqua's in from her perspective and not from his, the fact that I know so much about him, and I'm just like, okay, so what does Aqua do? In the game that I played with her as the protagonist, she did something. And then I think at the end we got the Kai Blade scene or something, and then, like, not Roxas got turned into Roxas. That's not exactly what happens in the end. I don't want to spoil it completely, okay? Not Roxas got turned into Roxas. Which is not true. Let's be clear, that's not actually what happens. I know what actually happens, okay? I remember the beach scene, okay? I remember the beach scene. Which may or may not even happen in that game. It might happen in Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Point being, it's weird that I played a whole game as Aqua and I don't remember anything about what she's done for the narrative. Other than I have to fight her once. Like, at total random, they make me randomly fight this character from a different game for, like, no apparent reason. In Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh man, Kingdom Hearts 3 was a complete mess. God, what a mess of a game. Look, everything that went wrong with Kingdom Hearts 2's combat system was taken to 11 in Kingdom Hearts 3. As this rant about Kingdom Hearts goes on, the views just keep damaging. It's just like, oh god. We're at half the peak. I'm sorry, Live Above. I never actually answered your question. I was thinking about it and then I got distracted by something that was going on screen. Actually, I have not killed Romthrax yet. This is one of those things that happens to me where I see a thing, I acknowledge it, and I'm like, yes, I've answered that, and I haven't answered it yet. It's an ADHD thing. I try to do better, but it's a struggle. We're clearing our way to Romthrax. Right now. Kind of. I mean, we're actually past the point where we get access to Romthrax, but we're clearing the rest of these out, and then we'll deal with Romthrax. I might level up a bit before I clear. Like, the reason that I wanted to do Romthrax first was because I only had like 10 minutes left, and I was thinking maybe I could just jump in and quickly do Romthrax. That would be fun. But I'm gonna probably try to clear the bulk of the trolls before I go into the dungeon to deal with Romthrax. I prefer to do the dungeons, like each map separately. But I am there's not like a rule against me just walking in here right now, for instance. I could actually do it right now. I'm tempted to just walk in there and do it since we can. There's like no loot or anything in there. The only thing I get is EXP, and a lot of it. Do we want to do that? I'm probably not going to get anything too huge. I did, by the way, check out the other file that I had, the Lich Stitch file, the other day. And this file is actually similar. It's actually pretty similar to the Lich Stitch file in terms of power level. It's a little different. I have a legendary Axe of Darkness on one of my characters. So you'd think, like, oh, wow, you're, like, in really good position. The funny thing is that everybody else is way weaker. in terms of like their physical DPS. So it's like I have one character who has like a really solid weapon, and then everyone else is like more similar to Swordfish. So Swordfish isn't actually like an outlier on the negative side, so much as everyone else, for the most part, is an outlier on the positive side. The It's a problem. See, the fact that you're spamming range attacks on me is a problem for me. So we can try clearing out the rest of these. Unfortunately, most of the bosses here are in that archer pack. Most of the bosses here are in that archer pack, which is an issue for us, but it's fine. But I also should mention I've only played the first of the Final Fantasy VII Remake games. I haven't played beyond that point because I was kind of just so disgusted by the whole thing that I was like, just no. I was like, you can't turn Final Fantasy VII into Kingdom Hearts. This is an unacceptable thing for you to do. That actually isn't the problem that I had with it. The problem that I have with the Final Fantasy VII Remake, okay, is that the villain of the Final Fantasy VII Remake is the script of Final Fantasy VII. The masterpiece that is Final Fantasy VII, the hardship of, oh no, we have to follow the script, we have to do all of the, the emotional beats and and have to deal with like, a narrative with like consequence and meat on its bones. We have to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And so the villain of the narrative is like literally the plot of Final Fantasy VII. And I do mean that literally, like not as like an allegory. It's the literal plot. Like you fight the plot of Final Fantasy VII as Organization 13 ghosts, okay? Like, it's so fucking bad. And so yes, because of the fact that the people who made the game clearly think that the plot of Final Fantasy VII is the bad guy, I'm just like, okay, whatever, man.
I'm still standing.
It's not the only reason. Taking a 5-hour segment of a game and turning it into a 50-hour monstrosity is real rough. Trying to take like that segment of the game and creating a fucking 3-act structure out of that segment, that tiny ass segment of the game that's like an introduction to the world and its setting, is crazy. The first time you see Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII is going to be like somewhere between 5 and 8 hours into the game, and it's in a flashback. The first time you see Sephiroth in the Final Fantasy VII Remake is like 5 minutes into the game because they think you're going to get bored if you don't see Sephiroth every 12 seconds. It's rough. It's real rough. Oh, man. It's rough. But yeah, so I haven't played any of the other games in the series because like the combat system I thought was like okay. The enemies had too much HP for my purposes. I think that they gave the enemies too much HP, so the fights tended to drag. But the reason the fights tended to drag is because they gave them too much HP, so that it pads the runtime of the game out. Because they didn't finish the game, and then they just like were like, okay, well, what if we just had you do the train graveyard twice? You do the train graveyard twice. You go through two completely different. Speaking of scripts, speaking of script problems, where it's like, okay, this is clearly from a script that never got made. They have the audacity to include both versions of the train graveyard script in the train graveyard segment. They just do them both. They have two completely separate train graveyard scripts that work as a cohesive, singular unit to be like, okay, this is the train graveyard, and they do them one after another. They do the train graveyard twice, from start to finish, in the actual finished product. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to do. Like, that project is so cursed on so many levels, and what a cursed project. I was like really legitimately shocked when I was playing through that, like just how like absolutely cursed everything was. The things that are great in the Final Fantasy VII remake are having voice-acted versions of scenes that had amazing writing in the first place and continue to have amazing writing in this version, right? Like, seeing a version of Aerith that has the personality that she had in Final Fantasy VII instead of the personality that she has in all of the other media, right? In all the media that comes after Final Fantasy VII, Aerith is treated like the Madonna, right? She's treated as this, like, innocent, like, being of purity, right? But that's more Tifa's thing. That's not really Aerith at all. Aerith is a snarky, like, wisecracker, right? That's what she, like, her narrative throughout the whole thing. She's constantly making jokes and wisecracks and things like that, right? She's constantly pushing, right? She's more socially aggressive, right? She doesn't take this passive role that she takes in later media, right? Like, if you see, like, even, like, just Advent Children, right? Like, that character that we see in Advent Children is not meaningfully identifiable as Aerith, right? And sure, she only has, like, a line or two, right? But, like, it's not... There's nothing about that implies her, like, the bulk of her characterization, which is that, sure, she's kind, right? But that's not how she presents. She presents as a snarky, kind of aggressive slums girl, and sure, she's kind, but, like, that's not her presentation. That's the motivations behind her actions, right? So, anyway, so it was really nice in the remake to see all of the scenes where they just took the script of Final Fantasy VII and they just played the scene with voice acting and this, that, and the other thing. That stuff works really well. The scene where you are going from... when you're walking on the rooftops in, I think it's like the Sector 6 slums or something, right? Or maybe it's Sector 5. I don't remember which sector it is. But you're wandering around the rooftops after some, like, interaction with, like, the Turks or something. And it's just her and Cloud talking, and that whole scene is just, like, fully taken from the original script, right? The whole scene is just ripped from the script. And the thing that was interesting was the way that I got my wife to finally get invested enough in the idea of, like, Final Fantasy VII to deal with the fact that it doesn't have voice acting and, you know, the graphics look like they came out of 1997. The way that was we got through that was seeing that, like, oh yeah, there's so much of this script that's really great, and then you just have to wait. And it's like, okay, so you know how this sequence here has taken us 20 hours to get through? Okay, this sequence was like 40 minutes in the original game, and the parts that you liked were all in the original, and the parts that you didn't like, none of that was in the original. But yeah, like, oh my god. The scene where Tifa is telling you not to kill a guy who's going to literally kill everyone that she cares about because reasons, when you have a sword the size of a mountain and you're a mercenary for her and she's a literal eco-terrorist. And that scene was so fucking that scene was so out of control. It also undermines the entire like wall market section because it's like, oh, okay, well, we don't have to actually worry about we clearly don't care that much about like keeping the location of our secret base a secret, considering that like you're just leaving random Shinra soldiers to just tell their bosses where you are. Like just crazy shit like that. Like 15 hours ago, you remember when we really didn't care that much about whether the Avalanche hideout was found out because we wanted to moralize about the validity of killing fascist soldiers who were trying to kill you? You remember that part? Okay, well, that makes this small market section a lot harder to care about. So all I'm saying is, you know, Final Fantasy VII was really great. It was really good, and it really held up. When I played it again, I was worried that it would be like, okay, well, I'm going to play this with Kaz, and she's going to get bored in like 5 minutes, and I'm going to be like, yeah, that tracks. And it fully held up, and we played through the entire thing and really enjoyed it, and it was great. Okay, we didn't die yet. If we get hit on the wrong character, we do die. Okay, that was a ranged attack, not a physical. I mean, it was physical, but not. It wasn't melee. All right, let's take a look at our inventory. Let's take a look at our gear, or EXP as well. How are we doing? We're at 8 a.m., so we have the ability to train if we want. We have an axe that we haven't identified for some reason.
We could sell it. It's worthless.
We have a helm. This is a swift footman's axe. It's only a plus 15. So yeah, it's not going to be superior to anything that we have.
We could sell it. Now this will...
Oh! What a legendary to find on the melee run. Look, on the plus side, we don't have Leech on the bulk of our party, so we can still use this. The second we get Leech on anybody, we can't use this anymore. That's funny. That is top tier. That is a beautiful, beautiful find. The really funny thing is, that at level 28 we can use this. We're currently level 24. It is entirely possible that by the time we can equip this, everybody has lifesteal. Because we're going to slow down in our leveling a decent bit. Like, probably not. We'll probably be able to use it because we're gonna kill Romthrax soon. Now look at us just here cackling, going, yeah, that's what we like to see. That's what we like to see. You doubt we'll ever find any Leech weapons, I assume. That's a reasonable doubt. Okay, unfortunately we did die. Let's see. That's true. We might equip it almost immediately. We're not going to get anything from whatchamacallit. We're not going to get anything from the dragon. It's not a boss, so like it's not very likely that they're going to drop anything at all. And even if it did drop something, we probably couldn't use it because it would just be too high level. We're going to die, aren't we? Oh! Still. Oh! We survived. We survived. I can hypothetically get one item off of it. Hypothetically, I could get like 15, right? Like, multi-loot is a thing. It's possible that I'll get 15 items off of the dragon, but I don't think I'm going to get one. I'm actually not sure how many times I've found literally anything off of these, like, solo, kill entities. Yeah. Well, yeah, on... Multi-loot's still a thing. Multi-loot's still a thing. I periodically have multi-loot happen. I've had bosses that, like, have dropped, like, 3 shields because I've been able to multi-loot them. But I'm not reloading for a multi-loot, obviously. In either direction. Like, if the boss's body still is there after the first loot, I'm just going to keep looting until it goes away. But, like, yeah, like, I don't think that any of, like, the normal, like, bosses, but not, like, mechanically bosses, the unique creatures, I don't think I've actually seen anything drop off of any of those. I guess that's not true. We get the claw off of, what's their name? Some do have, like, a specific drop. Okay, we're gonna find out. This is, like, proof of concept for the later problem that we're gonna run into. I think that we might not be able to make this run. Okay, we can make the trip. It's not predefined, no. When I reload and kill the thing again, I don't necessarily multi-loot. So circumstances where I multi-looted the first time, I don't necessarily multi-loot the second time. And the second time, I sometimes multi-loot where there wasn't a multi-loot the first time. That, I think, was what was causing the situation with... God, I don't remember what that place was called. In the Sunken Library with the... They're not Sahagin. What are they? Tritons. With the Tritons. Because... I had, like, a thing where it's like, oh, I got an item that I didn't get the first time. And it's because I was looting a whole pile of bodies. And when I looted the whole pile of bodies, I think I got a multi-loot on one of the bodies. And so it gave me an item on that second loot that I didn't get the first time. And so I was like, oh, well, this is an inconsistency. But it's not really an inconsistency. It's just like, you got an extra piece of loot, right? You got a multi-loot there instead of a single loot. It does seem to be random, and it doesn't seem to be predefined. There is a consistent tendency for that creature to drop the same type of item, though, on both things. So you'll get, like, similar, like, you'll often get, like, a shield and then a shield, or boots and boots again. I think I've gotten, like, 3 of a kind before, where I've gotten, like, 3 pairs of boots off of one boss. But... It's not universally the case. Sometimes it will be a different item. And usually when I loot 3 copies of the same creature, at least one of them, usually the third one, not the second one. The second one is more sticky than the third. Usually the third one is not the same item. Sometimes it is, but it's usually not. That's been my experience with the way that the multi-looting works in Maw so far. Okay, do we clear the rest of the outdoors? Let's see. Or do we... It's possible that it's tied to a sticky type of RNG, where, like, you know how if you use a Scouring Pearl, you'll tend to get the same result if you just reload over and over and over again. Like, there's like a range of options that you're likely to get if you just keep reloading, but if you attack a random peasant, then it will basically like cycle through. My guess is that if you don't call the random number generator between like reloading and looting, there's a decent chance that you're going to get fairly similar results each time. Right? Whereas, like, if you're coming back to a boss, like, you looted it the first time, and then you didn't bother looting it the second time, and then you come back later on to it, you're in a very different portion of, like, the RNG seed. So, like, you're going to get a very different result, as opposed to, like, reload, loot, reload, loot, reload, loot, reload, loot, which will give you sticky results. But I also don't know how any of that is handled. I don't know why multi-looting happens. I don't know anything about it. So I don't know how the Maw code interacts with it. All I know is that it doesn't seem to be specifically like 100% consistent. Unless something's been changed, I know for a fact that it isn't, because I definitely know that I've multi-looted something on one variant of a save file and not multi-looted it on a different variant of that same file, right? But in terms of like what makes it happen or not happen, I don't know anything about it. Like, is multi-loot... So multi-loot is mechanically intended? Because I just assumed that it was a bug. I assumed that it had something to do with like the body just not clearing properly. That's pretty funny. I had no idea. I legitimately was like, oh yeah, multi-loot. It's that bug that happens periodically, typically with like large creatures, and it's like it's just a flat V100 roll actually. That's really interesting. Yeah, I had no idea. Gotcha. Can multi-loot happen with like a special creature that drops like only one specific item? So like, can you get God, what's his name? What's the dragon with the claws name? This one's Ronthrax. Okay, you are not attacking any of the peasants. The reason that I haven't saved, by the way, is that I am concerned about finding out that I could have just saved under danger. I should have just saved under danger. We might die here, and if we die here, we lose progress that we don't need to lose, because I could have just saved under danger. Okay. Right, like, so, like, could you get, like, multiple copies of, like, a quest item? Wait, so if you get a multi-loot on Tolberti, instead of giving you the control cube, you get a gun instead? So, like, the first loot is the control cube, and then the second loot is a gun? I had no idea. Huh. I shouldn't have moved forward more. Okay, we need to clear. Because you also... Actually, was multi-loot a thing in 6, or was it added in 7? I don't actually even know if it was in 6. I don't know what the... Okay, it is on 6 as well. Because, like, what I'd be curious about is if something drops a quest item, can you get multiple copies of the same quest item? Could you get 2 loots? Could you multi-loot the loot? Can you get 2 loots if you just kill her after taking her loot? I don't think so, right? I think that if you get her loot from her, she doesn't still have it on her body, right? Because the lute is a usable, musical instrument. Like, you can use that shit. Okay, let's save this under danger. Later, Celestial. This is a terrible idea. What am I doing? What am I even thinking? This is, like, obviously going to go badly. Yeah, I'd be curious about that. Because if quest items can't be duped by the creature, I'd be really curious what items are behind... Like, do they have an item loot pool behind their original loot pool? Or do you just not get anything because the loot pool only contains an invalid item? Because there's so many possible interpretations of how that could go. Oh shit, where am I? Fuck. Okay. This is actually working better than I expected. I was thinking I was gonna have to, like, look in and out for you, but yeah, he does have a set loot item, but that's also not a quest item, right? His multi-loot wouldn't be a quest item. Whereas, like, the dragon claw or the loot, things like, what are you... Oh, no. Oh, shit. That's a problem. That's a real big problem right there. That right there. I'm not... I don't know how we're going to deal with that, Chief. That is a problem. Deja just got a lot more dangerous. And the exploders. The GOG... So, I thought I reloaded after I got that disease. I died after getting the disease the first time. I must have gotten diseased again. It wasn't even in Bricata, it was here. That was 9 days ago. And I think I've trained since I got here. So training since I got here means that I've... Like, that was before I trained, but after I got here, I must have gotten tagged by something here, I think. Oh, wait, no, it was... Wait, the trip by boat is shorter. It's possible, but I don't think so. I think I got diseased here. We can actually just check that. That's easy to check. We haven't zoned into anywhere, so let's check. We're gonna load the autosave. This is Bricata. No, we are diseased here. We were diseased 12 hours ago at this point. Okay. Yeah, that's rough. Okay, well, that means that Dragon Breath is a very big problem for us. We're going to run into some troubles here. Deja is going to be real rough for us. That's going to be a real problem. The issue is AoEs. Having the ability for like a 1 in 5 chance for Daggertooth to just get one shot because they have a disease is like, it's not great, but it's fine, right? It's not that big a deal. Because it's just a 1 in 5 chance of them getting killed. They have the ability, they have a second life already, right, built in with their items. I need to clear the Watchtower. And the Watchtower is absolutely chock full of AoEs. So... oh, this is a problem. That's an issue. We're going to struggle. We're going to struggle a lot. We'll see how it goes. There isn't going to be any scaling from the enemies. So we'll have cleared out a lot of stuff. And the hope is that I don't get one shot by Dragon Breaths by the time I get there. If I'm getting one shot by Dragon Breath when I get there, that's going to be a nightmare. That's going to be an absolute nightmare to clear if Dragon Breath can one-shot me still. Because it's an AoE, so it's guaranteed that when they cast their spell, their one spell that they have, they will instantly kill someone if they hit at all. That's an issue for a melee party. Oof. That's going to be rough. Like, that place was pretty rough even for the casters to deal with, and they could literally fight back. Like, on this, I'm gonna have to, like, walk up to them and shit. Are you diseased too? I'm not, the person that has cover, I'm not accepting. I'm reloading for that. I can't allow disease to just propagate to my entire party. I cannot allow that. I'm having flashbacks to like fucking 2015 or whatever when I did that first run. We're not gonna get a hat that's gonna save us if the entire party's fucking diseased. So that does mean that when we get one of these, we need to make sure that it doesn't hit us at all because it has the ability to proc disease on us. Yeah, it's funny. I was saying that I didn't think that it was terribly likely that I was going to run into a disease problem, and then we immediately get disease. Let's see. Not this problem with disease. The problem with disease where I just had somebody get disease procced on them. Okay. This is, I think, the one that can proc disease.
I don't know.
Okay, we're saving this. We're in for a rough time here. So, what do we want to do from here? On the plus side, our shaman has the ability to just stack the ever-loving shit out of air skill to become really quite tanky. How bad is that drilling? I guess that's not drilling, that sounds like sawing. Is that audio really loud? It doesn't sound particularly loud to me, but it's like
Things hit different on the mic. Fuck. There are a bunch of AoEs in the wine cellar, but the problem is that the wine cellar, I'm going to be like 30 levels below. Like, the wine cellar, I have to clear without getting hit at all. I already know that, right? So, the wine cellar is not as informative as I'd hoped for. Though I guess I can see, at the very least, what the base damage is that I need to then mitigate. Like, if I get hit by a dragon breath, I can then identify what the deficit that I need to make up by Deja is. So there is that. So we'll actually use this as an information gathering expedition. You know, I'm going to actually go AFK for a second. We're going to take this opportunity to go AFK for a moment, because I need to go AFK at some point, and hopefully they'll be done with whatever they're doing by the time I get back in like a couple minutes.
We back. We ready to go. But yeah, we'll definitely be able to get some good info in the wine cellar if we do that. We can get more resists. Luckily, the person who currently... I guess it doesn't really matter. But the we have a cloak that reduces resists but increases luck, which is kind of a fun combination, considering that luck increases resists. Okay, we're probably fine there. Okay, we're at 78% for just the trolls. We have a lot of EXP available to us here. What time is it? It's 5:22. Can we get there by 6? I have made a mistake. It's probably fine. We're probably going to get weak at 3 o'clock, but it's probably fine. I would prefer to have actually leveled up before we go into the next dungeon. I think we do Romthrax next. Romthrax is going to give us a shit ton of EXP. The issue is that doing Romthrax, we get a shit ton of EXP, but we can't immediately use it because it's not late enough. So maybe we do Romthrax and then the Thieves hideout, though I guess probably Thieves first, the Smugglers then, and then... Luckily, the ranged attacks on these aren't that crazy. Like, that was a double damage attack on Daggertooth. That was double damage, and it wasn't anywhere near a one-shot. Are you fucking kidding me? They didn't make a peep while I had the mic muted, I will point out. That's not entirely true. They were, like, moving around metal things that went tink, 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 and things like that. So it's not like they did nothing while I was in there, but... Let's do this. Next. Come on, friend. Okay. It is very funny that our second legendary is a legendary where the effect is actually just explicitly bad for me. Look, Malekith, how about this for a suggestion? If your character doesn't have a mana bar, that effect doesn't proc. Okay, there's no way I'm going to prevent that from killing that peasant, so we're reloading. So I can equip it on my knight, and it's fine. I don't think that change is happening. I don't think that change is happening. It's so funny because it's such a good durability item. It's like, it was like what, raw HP and raw raw AC, I think. Like HP, AC, and resists. Like, not bad. Like that's a pretty solid set of like. You know, we need that. Like, that's something that would be great to put onto Daggertooth. But Daggertooth actually has lifesteal right now. We couldn't even put it on Daggertooth. Because Daggertooth has a lifesteal off of one of their things, I think. Maybe they don't, actually. Could you not? Okay. Okay, we triggered our legendary effect for that. Just 3 shots straight to Daggertooth's face. No problem. Could you not walk just outside of my melee range and then stop to shoot me?
Yeah, I think we do just keep pulling you. Okay, we are in the green. Nobody's approaching. But it is very funny that, you know, as I start self-posting, we do start getting some actual news that I'm now ignoring. There's apparently, like, new gameplay footage and shit. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. If I look at that, then how am I supposed to get surprised when I see the actual thing, you know? Okay, we have one. We continue to have one. We attack. Nobody else joins. I was kind of expecting that pack would split off from everyone else and come attack me, but that's fine. We run forward, we run back, we run forward. Okay, you're just standing still. I love that for you. Could you do something else though? Okay, you're moving toward me. That's suboptimal. That's a lot of enemies. Nope, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh god. We're fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We got this.
I require assistance.
And we only have the one on us right now. Damn! That disease got us. If we weren't diseased, we would have survived that. No shot we would have died from that. No shot we would have died without that disease. Oh, man. We should keep track of how much time I waste because I'm diseased. We shouldn't. That's way too much. That's way too much work. Oh my god. Just thinking about how much work that would be to actually go back and time every single thing. Oh man. Look, if I'm gonna get that kind of recording going on in my streams, we're gonna need like way more of a cultish following. We need way more parasociality if we're going to get that kind of engagement. Okay, well, you know, here's a highlight video that shows every single time that Arctole died here because of the disease. We've cross-referenced, you know, all of the data that we have for the minimum and the maximum damage output of this creature. And we know from it in advance that if you look at these pixels, we can see that character is at 34% HP. So, with them at 34% HP, it's clear that they could not have possibly died if not for the double damage effect that came out in, you know, because of the disease effect. So this other case, it took us some more work to deal with. But you know, if you look at the pixel analysis very very carefully, unfortunately, at the exact wrong moment, you know, Twitch decided to cause the streaky effect on the screen, which interferes with what's going. I love that kind of stuff that people do. I find that incredibly fun. I love to interact with it. I have no idea how anybody does it. I have no idea how, like, as someone who absolutely loves to use data, I love using data. You have to have respect for how hard it is to actually acquire data. Data is really hard to get. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort, right? It's not trivial to get data. And you really have to, like, respect the hustle of the people who are willing to do, like, any sort of data gathering. And obviously that's a different type of data gathering than the type of data gathering that I utilize, right? I utilize, you know, stuff that's more easily transmissible into a spreadsheet, right? But, like, there's a lot of people out there who, before, it used to be that, like, it was not common for people just to have the ability to, like, dump the content, like, dump the executable and, like, look at the raw code, or to, like,
basically like look at what's happening behind the scenes with gameplay, like a lot of what people know about like hit formulas and this, that, or the other is the result of some mad people, often just one mad person, just sitting in front of their computer, parsing 1,000, 10,000 iterations of the like attacks with various settings to gauge what is the percent chance under this circumstance, what's the percent chance under this circumstance, and guess what the calculation must be as a result of the data that they like, the actual like just raw data coming in from the final product. That's crazy. That's so much work. That's so like impressive to do, right? Like legitimately, right? So I hope that it's understood that whenever I make, jokes about how nerdy people are, like, I love me some nerds, and the nerds that give me data to work with, ooh, you're the most beautiful nerds in existence, Nerds who do data analysis, look, man, I do data analysis. I don't have to respect you. You're my people, okay? Nerds that gather data, that's a skill that I do not understand, I do not comprehend, and I'm very happy that someone does it. It's kind of like music in that way, right? I don't understand or comprehend how music theory works. Don't get it. I'm super happy that people do, and I feel like it's a superpower. It feels like a superpower to me to be able to do that. It's in with visual art, honestly. Like, visual art is more of a superpower to me than music. Because, like, music, even though it doesn't make much sense to me logically, kind of intuitively makes sense to me. In the sense of, like, if I hear a song, I can kind of guess, like, what it should sound like next. And I'm generally correct. Right, and like sometimes you're deliberately subverting things or this, that, or the other thing. But like when I listen to like the musical theorists talk and try to turn the vague vibe feeling that I have about music into like actual like numbers and actual understanding of the theory, I just can't get it done. I just can't make that conversion very easily. I'd need to have like a more robust musical education to get to that point. But when it comes to like visual art, right? Like with audio stuff, I can hear things. I can hear music. I can get music stuck in my head. I can replicate sound using my brain. This is a thing that I can do. And it's a thing that most people can do. Like, I'm not saying that like I'm special. Because the thing that's special about me is that I can't do that for visuals. I can't visualize stuff. I have aphantasia. Visualizing things is not a thing that I can do. So there's this interesting element to it of like the shit that like an artist is doing is just like pure magic. Like I've drawn things before, right? And there are artists who have aphantasia, which is crazy to me. Like visual artists who have aphantasia, and that's crazy to me because it's like, man, how do you know what you're drawing? Like, how do you know what you're drawing without a reference photo? And if you have a reference photo, like, you're not drawing the kind of stuff that you're drawing, right? Like, because there isn't, like, a direct reference photo for the thing that you're drawing, right? Obviously, drawing from a reference photo is not visual art. I'm just saying that I can understand how someone with aphantasia can draw from a reference photo and can make alterations to that reference photo and can do things like that. I get how that would be done. The idea of having so much skill that you can't visualize what you're trying to make. You're trying to make a chair. and you visually have no idea what that looks like, right? Like, you cannot visualize that shit. But that you just mathematically know what that is, that you just kind of mathematically know, you can intuit what a chair must look like from first fucking principles. Holy shit. Okay? Like, what the hell? I've tried to draw chairs from a reference photo, and it's hard enough. The idea of drawing, not from like the real, like looking at a chair and just trying to draw a chair. The idea that, you know, you have quite a few artists who are like, you know, prolific, talented artists who can't see that shit in their head? No fucking shot. It's crazy. It's a wild skill. It's a wild skill. Visual art is crazy and wild to be clear. Again, when I'm drawing from like a visual that I'm looking at, the idea of converting that visual that I'm looking at into like coherent shapes. Did we get hit by you at some point? Do we reload for this? I think we do. I think we do reload for this. We have to reload. I'm not doing it. I refuse. I didn't realize you were plague-born. Okay. Let's see here. I'm also way tankier than I expected. It's kind of surprising that I can tank a shot from a boss. Okay, nobody's been hit by the boss. Got the boss. I'm gonna just try to run straight and hope that the boss doesn't even do an attack. Anyway, it's really impressive. There's a lot of really impressive stuff that people do that I think that we kind of like normalize how impressive this stuff is. And I do want to periodically just think about how crazy impressive humans are, like, and how much crazy shit that we've invented that's super cool, and just, you know, there's just a huge amount of stuff that's like, wow, that was really impressive, good job. You know, we figured out how to make like internal combustion engines, and we just like fucking mass produce that shit. Like, I don't like cars. I think that cars are a pretty bad form of like transportation for most purposes, and that they have really taken over our cities and are causing a lot of societal harm. But like, as a technology, that shit's really fucking impressive. But we just like fully normalize some really crazy, wicked shit that's just like, oh wow, this is wild that we can do this. You know, you can just like plug shit into the wall and it'll figure out the right amount of electricity to shunt into it itself. Like, we just have like, you know, your wall just has like electricity running through it at all times. There's just an electrical current that's just going fucking crazy, and we just like plug shit into it and don't die. Like, you plug your finger into your wall, you fucking die. It, like, your walls are deadly. If you just plug your finger into that wall, it will just fucking kill you. It ain't smart. It's just electricity. And then we have just like transformers that are just like, oh yeah, I can take this incredibly deadly electricity that is the result of just like a turbine getting moved, which somehow is being converted into fucking, you know, zappy. Like, we have the ability to convert like gravity into Zeus. And it's so normalized that we turn gravity into Zeus that we just don't even think about it. It's just not that impressive to us. Everything we do involves harnessing the power of shit that periodically just rains from the sky. Okay? And I do mean, it's not common. Electricity is not a, like, super common thing. Okay, it's actually extremely common. Like, look, we run on electricity as well. Don't worry about it, okay? We take electricity with a capital E. I'm not talking about the shit your mitochondria gets up to, okay? None of that, like, ATP bullshit, okay? None of that chemical energy bullshit. I'm talking electricity raining from the heavens and smiting you. We have that kind of electricity running through our houses at all times, and the way that we got there is by, like, picking up a bucket of water and moving it up a hill. Except we don't ever bother picking up the bucket of water. The bucket of water gets picked up by this fucking sky on its own, and then we're just like, okay, well, hey man, we just use the fact that the fucking sky naturally picks up water and then drops it on hills periodically to make lightning. Literally converting water into lightning. It's crazy. And it's always fucking water. It's always water, okay? It's not always water. It's usually water, though. At the end of the... Like, nuclear power, a nuclear power plant is moving water. It's just using steam. It's just a steam engine with extra steps. I believe that's the case. I believe that a nuclear power plant is, in fact, a steam engine with extra steps, okay? Or fewer steps, depending on how you want to count it, okay? But, like, the way that a nuclear power plant works, I believe, is that you use the radiation to superheat water to boiling, and then you use that boiling water, you use that pressure to drive an object that moves, and that object moving is how you store electricity, right? I'm pretty sure that's how nuclear energy works. It all works off of just moving water around. It's fucking crazy. But it's just super crazy that we just convert water into electricity. And that's really cool. I think that's really cool. And, like, I feel like being excited and, like, looking at the world and going, holy shit, can you believe we can do that? When I was young, I was always taught to respond to that kind of energy with, like, well, of course, because, and then you give some, like, factual explanation of, like, the technical way that it works, right? And it's like, yeah, man, I know that it works because the way that physics works is the way that it works, but, like, how crazy is it that someone figured that shit out? That's wild. It's wild that somebody figured that out. It's crazy to think that we're just like, yeah, man, it's fine. We're just casually pulling rocks out of the ground that for some reason will fucking kill you, and then we're converting those rocks that will kill you from out of the ground, and we're using those to superheat water into steam that will kill you, and then we take that steam and we push a lever with it to somehow store electricity in some weird chemical process, and then we just use that electricity to not electrocute ourselves, but to instead make loud noises upstairs with drills. Terrible timing. I'm in the middle of a rant. They position mirrors to heat water towers with solar power. That's pretty cool too. Like, that's so cool. Where's the third one? I think we're dead. I think that's GG. Yeah, that's GG. Okay, we need to reload. Yeah, it's like, it's always just a thing moving. It's just a thing moving a lever. Everything is levers. Video games had this correct. At the end of the day, everything's a goddamn lever. Everything's a lever. It's just something. There's just some fucking physical object that goes, oh, okay, we got this thing working now. Even electricity is just like this. I actually have to figure out how the power grid works. I'm very curious about that because I know the basic understanding of like the process up to the point where it's converted into electricity, which I'm sure is going to require a bunch of stuff that like people don't generally want to go into in those kinds of articles. But that is actually the kind of thing that I'm interested in. I'm curious to know like what the actual process is, because you're not actually putting it in batteries or anything. You're not like chemically storing it. Putting things in batteries is not typical on the power grid. It's really inefficient to put things in batteries. So like it's okay, so you're converting the physical movement into electromagnetic energy by using the physical movement in opposition to the magnetic field or something, which is causing like electromagnetic friction, which you then turn through the thing. So you're converting like the physical friction into electromagnetic friction. This is obviously not the way that the words are used. Okay, I'm just trying to like internalize it in my head. Is like physical friction becomes electromagnetic friction. The electromagnetic friction is then sent through a cable because of the way that electricity works, and then that electromagnetic friction is. Let's see. Isn't it friction? Isn't it like the relation? Isn't it like the? I mean, obviously it's not friction in a literal sense. Friction is a different thing mechanically, but like. You're upsetting the magnetic field by putting it into a state that isn't the most stable state, right? Which is not a meaningfully useful way to describe friction in any way, shape, or form, but that's beside the... Like you're pushing against the natural state of the electromagnetic field by using physical force to push it into a different state. Right, but that describes how like the relationship that heat has to taking two objects and like sliding them together, right? Like that to me reads as like the electromagnetic equivalent of friction. Now, I'm not saying that it's literally friction. I'm just like talking about the way that I would internally think about it as someone who doesn't really have the in-depth knowledge to like, because like you have the very basic explanation of like, okay, well, two moving copper coils somehow generates an electromagnetic field. And it's like, well, what's an electromagnetic field? Right? Well, it's an electromagnetic field. That's what it is. And then getting past that point into a more in-depth understanding of it requires probably a hugely involved amount of math to be able to explain what an electromagnetic field is within the context of electromagnetism, right? And I'm going with the, like, yes, I'm not trying to understand this within the context of electromagnetism. I'm just going like, okay, so generally this is kind of like friction. It's like the rough equivalent. Let's see. See, yeah, that to me, that sounds a heck of a lot like friction, though, right? That sounds a lot. That sounds a lot like the way that the friction works. I think it's turning mechanical friction into electromagnetic friction. I feel like I was cooking with that. It's like turning electricity into chemistry, right? It's like, okay, well, these aren't really directly analogous because they can't be because they're completely different types of thing. Like they're different states of being, right? But I feel like, well, heat is energy though, right? Heat is a form of energy, and the kind of energy that friction is causing is the kind of energy that you would cause with like physical heat. Whereas electromagnetic friction causes an electromagnetic field. That's what I'm saying. I'm coming up with a new term called electromagnetic friction to describe the nature of this interaction without needing to know the, like, incredibly complicated math behind understanding electromagnetism. Because it's a lot of math, right? Like, at a certain point, you have to, like... There's a lot of stuff that, like, we're kind of just given, like, a really basic non-explanation of. And then, in order to get a more, like, an explanation of the why of that, it's like, okay, well... Like, think about, like, imaginary numbers. Okay, what's an imaginary number? Okay, well, imaginary number is a multiple of the square root of -1. Okay? First of all, you generally don't learn about that when you first learn about imaginary numbers. You're just told, it's called I, don't worry about it. But second of all, even after you learn what it is ostensibly, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, it's the square root of -1. What the fuck does that mean? You can't square root negative numbers. Right? You can't do that, so, like, what is it, though? To which the answer is, I still don't know what the answer to that question is. Like, how mathematically do you get there? It's like, okay, well, there's a reason we call them imaginary numbers, right? But the... So, like, I would assume that imaginary numbers are fully just, like, constructs that are useful for doing certain types of math puzzles for, as opposed to a description of an actual, real, tangible physical phenomenon, right? Like, obviously, electromagnetism is describing a actual thing, but if the math is complex enough, it's like, okay, well, how do you describe this in one word? You describe it, like... by just saying that it happens. Let's see. Well, if you get enough friction, you do cause a fire, and fire does also take energy from the atmosphere. Right? Like, well, to be clear, I'm not saying that friction and, like, electromagnetic fields are the same thing or are directly analogous. What I'm talking about is doing the, like, caveman explanation of what is the relationship between the physical act that you're doing, the physical movement, and converting it into something else, right? You're converting it into something. And to a large degree, if what you're doing is you're generating energy by moving two objects near each other that do not want to be moving near each other, they have some sort of resistance to moving near each other, and it generates a tangible physical effect when you move them in that way. It's fairly similar to friction. It's comprehensible to think of it as you're taking physical friction, you're converting it into electromagnetic friction, and then you have all the things that happen once it's in the field of electromagnetism, right? Once you're in electromagnetism, that has all sorts of consequences that are a result of that are very dissimilar from what you would get from the friction that you get from, you know, like heating a thing, right? But, like, you're pushing against a... you are creating a... You're not creating energy. You're moving energy from one format to another and doing interesting things with it. Anyway, I don't think that how useful it is as an explanation is not terribly... it's not terribly meaningful to me. I think it's a useful way for my brain to interpret it for now, and then later on, if I ever get a more detailed understanding of how it works, then I'll do a more detailed sort of internal vision of it, of okay, well, what it really is this thing. And it's not really like that. It's just a useful approximation for the purposes of mapping stuff out, right? So this way of interacting with things that I do not understand is the way that I approach stuff that I just don't have much of an education on, and I find that it's very useful for discussing things with people who have a lot of sophisticated technical knowledge about the thing that they're talking about, that I don't understand the field, right? Like, when I'm talking to someone who's talking about doing, shit with DNA, right? When someone's working with DNA, I don't know anything about DNA, but you can tell based off of the way that they're talking about it. There's pieces of it that you can pick up and use without understanding the real deep down in their details of how it all works together and how it really interacts. You don't need to know all those details to understand okay, so fundamentally you are generating a colony of this thing that is growing on its own, and the goal is to isolate this thing with the right? I think that this is maybe the better choice. Wait, it's already 5:10. Never mind. This is not the better choice. We're going for the dragon. I was thinking that this might be the... No, we are doing this first. Because Swordfish is not surviving very well, I don't want to have more HP. I want to have less HP when I go in for the dragon. When I go into the... When I'm making the crossings, I want to have less HP. So I don't want to level up and increase my max HP permanently. I am going to go in here first. We're going to pick up the gear, and then we'll go with the dragon second. I think I do. I have heroism and stone skin.
This'll be fun.
Yeah, I think that this is the play. Oh shit, we're gonna die. I think they also only go away if I leave the dungeon. The Day of the Gods pedestal didn't go anywhere when I the buff didn't leave when I trained. What could possibly be traumatizing about this zone, Malekith? I don't know what you're talking about. This is a very normal place, full of very normal things that happen. Nothing has ever gone wrong here. You know what we're going to do? We're going to move to completely fresh inventories for everyone, because I just don't want them stealing anything from me. I think that makes sense. And then we just won't loot until we finish killing all of the thieves. So that went pretty smoothly, actually. That was fine. That was quite a lot of them, too.
I don't know. Got it.
Yep. Well, it's fine. It's a mystery and a secret to everyone. We'll just never know. And knowing is half the battle, so we're going to be in trouble because we don't know. But that's fine. It's only half the battle. So we can win half the battle without knowing. Is that a reference that makes any sense to people outside the United States? I guess it probably doesn't, right? Like, unless you grew up watching G.I. Joe in the 80s, you have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, huh? I don't think... Equipped items can't be stolen. No, I don't think so. So we're safe. We're fully safe in here. Everything's fine. Now, of course, the steel animation and the disease animation are the same. So that's great for us. Oh, is it? Now you know, and knowing is half the battle? Where else is it? Other than G.I. Joe. Because G.I. Joe is the cartoon that I heard it in. And it makes sense in G.I. Joe, because, like, they're fighting people. But, like, it's kind of hard to imagine Care Bears having a section at the end where they go, and now you know, and knowing is half the battle. It was a top tier Care Bears impression. We are in the green already. Why am I looting? I'm not supposed to loot. No. Okay, we're gonna save the game. Saving the game under danger. Interesting. It makes sense. It's probable. Here's my expectation. My guess is it's a pre-existing expression, right? That got picked up by that Saturday morning cartoon, and I just haven't heard anybody else say it without, like, the plausible belief that they are just quoting the thing. That would be my guess. But it's probably just a expression people use. You know what? It's probably something that Patton said. Let's blame Patton for this, okay? Knowing is half the battle. Origin. Why exactly is knowing half the battle? If knowing is half the battle, what's the other half? Knowing ain't half the battle. I'm only seeing it being referenced in reference to G.I. Joe. Which is unfortunate, because I'm getting the implication based off of some of this stuff that it's an older expression that was kind of, like, bastardized a bit by the show to imply kind of the opposite of the meaning. Where it's like, okay, well, knowing is only half the battle was maybe the original intention of the quote. But I'm also not seeing, like, where the quote originates from on a immediate search. So, it's probable that the wording is slightly different. I know G.I. Joe's from the 80s. Do you have any idea how old I am? I was watching that as a child. It was certainly referenced in newer stuff. What I'm curious about is whether it was itself the origination point, or if it was referencing a older thing, right? Whether there's like an older, line about that. And I was thinking, like, you know what? It's probably some bullshit that Patton said, because we love quoting Patton, right? I don't remember what we love quoting from Patton, but I know that people love quoting Patton, okay? Patton said all sorts of shit. Don't quote me on that. Patton. What was his first name? I'm pretty sure his first name was General. I'm pretty sure that was his... He was named General Patton. That's his birth name. Anyone else have parents that were weirdly obsessed with Patton? I don't know if my parents were... I don't know if my dad was obsessed with Patton, or if just, like, the Discovery Channel at the time was obsessed with Patton. You know, there are some bangers that are fairly recent. You know? Like even stuff like the Bechdel test is, like, really recent. Like, I think the Bechdel test was, like, an online article, right? Like, that's a thing that was, like, a thing that just, like, some random person made in, like, I think they might have made it in a comic or something, right? And it's, like, it's a useful thing to look at in a movie, is, like, does this movie have literally any women that talk to each other about something other than a man is such a low bar to meet, and it is really disturbing how uncommon it is. Like, it's actually really concerning. It's like, oh man, this bar is in hell. And we still are not breaching this bar. That's pretty rough. But, like, a lot of stuff is pretty recent. Like, a lot of stuff is, like, really ancient quotes, and it's someone quoting a person who's quoting a person who's quoting a person. But there is also a fair amount of stuff that's like, oh, wow, how is this a new expression that didn't exist, like, prior to 2007? That's crazy that this didn't exist prior to... Like, how are we not talking about this prior to then? So... I can't think of any offhand, but I also can't think of any Patton quotes offhand, and Patton had a lot of... Patton made up a decent portion of my childhood, okay? That's not a terribly accurate interpretation of events, but we'll go with it. We'll run with that interpretation. Because it's funny. You know, being a kid is a very different kind of environment. Oh, that is concerning. Okay. Can I beat you? I don't think I can beat you in a straight-up fight. Can I beat you if I run away from you? Define beat. Okay, I might be able to do something with this room. Let's do some exploring of the space. We can clear out a few enemies, but not a single copy of that boss. I think the strat might be to ignore the boss for now, ignore this area for now, and run past. No, they're not here. They're upstairs. We can try to get in there, yes. Hello, Master Thief. So kind of you to jump on top of my head. If we can clear through these, my hope is that we can lock some of the ones that are upstairs and not have to deal with them. Okay. We're at 37%. I don't know where the boss is. Do you like how I've primed myself to be standing right where the trap is? Better not. If I run for a save, then I'm gonna have to kill everything that comes with me. So there's gonna be some enemies that come from here, but I'm also concerned that that the boss is gonna walk down this staircase. So I don't really want to save until I've gotten a bit more of a looky look at what the hell's going on here. I don't unfortunately see anybody there. That was alarming. But I think that running for a save might be the proper play here. Because we don't see any enemies directly in play, and maybe I get boned here, maybe I don't. We'll find out. Luckily, I think the ones that are left out here are mostly, like, fairly low level. Like, I think I saw, like, a Shade, we saw a Thief. We are in the green. So, wherever the boss is, it ain't here. Perfect. So we have 10 food. I don't know where the boss came from. We've cleared this completely. Interesting. So this entryway is in a really good position now. Where is the boss? Okay, we do have Unconsciousness procs coming. That is the Brood Lord. We drop, we die. Okay. So, we need to figure out a mechanism. Do we just go into the hidey hole? Let's try to get into the hidey hole. I don't know if we're going to succeed. There's a lot of enemies in between us and that hidey hole that we're just going to have to, like, eat. Okay, there's several in here with me, but they are fairly weak. Good call, good call. Good call coming in here. Okay. Okay, that's one that we had vision on. Okay, that's a shit ton of enemies. I do have one thing that's very unfortunate. You know what the biggest weakness of this place was when we were here before? Broodlords. Broodlords were actually the thing that made this not work. Because they spawn inside with me. Broodlord's dead. They're checking. Nobody in here. They're all attacking as if they have range on me, and they don't. They've stopped. We now are in a better position. Because we're now down to the broodlings, there's no possibility of the top tier spawning in here. Which is great. Because if a top tier spawned in here, that would be really a problem for us. That would be a big issue. I don't love this. I'm gonna close this. They are still attacking me. Hate that for me. That's this Polar Skeleton Lord. Okay. This is so terrifying. Okay. We're 54. Who? Okay, they're outside. Stop being a dick. Imagine that. They don't have them in this game, you know? Like, it's just not a thing that exists here.
Yes.
I have it on good authority that none of the Might and Magic games have closable doors. Okay. We are on a Master Thief still. Okay, that is really close. We can probably kill it, though. You know what? Please? Whew. Don't love that for me. Don't love the positioning on that one. Can we move you to be more in the corner by doing that? I don't know. We might have just boned ourselves. Okay.
I haven't seen this kind before.
This is not going to spawn ads, so we're good. We're golden. Oh, boy. Okay. So I think there's more here that we need to deal with. Yep, there's more directly in my... Ooh, concerning. Okay, please. I need to... You know what? We're not going to close the door. We're just going to kill you. You know what? We need to close the door. Why can't I? Please, let me fucking close the door. Jesus Christ. Okay, so what status effects have you all been inflicted with? Nothing? Okay, we're fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. Scared the crap out of me. But yeah, luckily the lower tier ones just don't hit that hard. So. Okay. They also don't have very much HP, but that's actually not as relevant when there's 15,000 of them. Whew. Still relevant, though. The Broodling Thieves are falling fast. Okay. We're at 60%. I feel like maybe we save. Maybe not. Saving is probably a thing to do when we're going to make the run. I'm a little concerned that if I save here, that it won't be usable. Because sometimes when you reload, the enemies start behaving differently immediately. I am a little concerned about killing a Master Thief here, though. If this spawns rogues inside with me, I'm going to have a difficult time. Okay, nobody spawned inside with me. If some thieves spawn inside with me, it's less of a concern. The thieves just now were causing problems, but that was more tied to the fact that, like, there were a lot of them, and I was not consistently hitting them.
Got it.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
We're above 65. Shit. Okay. And we do save before we leave. It's tempting not to. It's tempting to just go, oh, well, what if we just go to the entrance and save the game in the green? So that we cannot... I was like, Master Thief? We already killed 3 of these. Why are there still Master Thieves? And it's like, oh yeah, this isn't a Broodling. This is just a normal Master Thief. The Broodling, I think, is cleared. I think we've fully cleared the Broodling. So I think it's just a matter of killing... those. We've succeeded. We are going to close this. We are going to save the game, and we're going to make a dash for the dungeon entrance. Yes, I can leave right now, so there's no real reason to to not save 410, because this is a dangerous run. We also don't know how many are going to be in there. Like, we just don't know what's in front of us. This is definitely a dangerous setup. I am going to stay here though for now because I want to kill the things that are on the thing already. Because the enemies down there can be a pain in the ass, and these seem to have set themselves in a good position. So we just clear those out. That is done. Let's take an angle down to here, see if anybody is here. I don't see anybody down here. We leave. We're going to leave, we're going to clear the bottom, and then we're going to clear the other thing after that. Alright, this is going pretty smooth. This is definitely going fairly smoothly, I think. We should be able... We might clear Tatalia today. I don't think so, because I think that we're going to have some, you know, unfortunate issues once we get into the other place. The wine cellar. I think the wine cellar is going to cause problems for us, but... We're going to wait for just a few seconds. We're going to see what's here.
Got it.
Too close to the entrance. Okay.
I require assistance.
Do we remember how I cleared the manor? Because the manor should be short if I can remember how I cleared it last time. I think that the strategy I used last time will work in melee as well. It was something involving that switch, right? Oh, but did it involve invis? I might have had to set up with invis.
Got it.
Okay. I thought we had a bunch of really scuffed attempts, and then it became really easy when I figured out that I could get like a very specific place, and then I just had a solution. That was my understanding, but... But I could be wrong. Like, I felt like I found this one simple trick that Lord Markham doesn't want you to know about, right? Like, I feel like I found that one simple trick. And I think that it involved the switch itself. Like, the table where the switch is, I think I could, like, get on that table, maybe? So if I was getting on that table, it might have involved the jump spell. So if it involves the jump spell, I can't really do it. Because I don't have jump. But if it can be done without jump, then I just remember there being something... The desk was the thing that was the linchpin of the operation, I think.
Yes.
But yeah, the XKCD comic is so good in general. And periodically, it just has something really just crazy that's like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. How could that possibly be a reality? And it is, and it's really cool. Like, like... Is the concept hydrostatic pressure? I think the thing that... The consequence of it was the Ruinamontium strategy of mining. it is hydrostatic pressure, right? It's like, no, that can't be right. If hydrostatic pressure worked that way, then you could use it to make machines that exert near infinite force. And ancient people could have demolished entire mountains by just drilling small tunnels and filling them with water. And it's like, wait, nope, that's how hydraulic presses work. It's like, it's really cool. The concept involved is Pascal's law, which I believe is like basically any like pressure on the water is propagated to everything in contact with the water, which that sounds like magic. That sounds like a thing that can't possibly be real. That can't be real, right? You can't be like, okay, well, I'm putting pressure on this part of the water and it goes to all the water. That doesn't make, like, it goes to everything in contact with the water. That sounds like an infinite sounds like an infinite force multiplier cheat in a video game. Okay, that doesn't make sense. It's like, nope, that's how a hydraulic press works. Actually, it's pretty cool. It's actually really cool. It's just a cool property of water, actually. Which I think is cool. I think that kind of stuff is fun. I think it's important to keep a mind of excitement toward the world and not be cynical. It's okay to be cynical, like, in some context, but, like, it's important to, like, periodically come out of your cynicism and go, man, the world's really cool, and there's a bunch of fun shit, and a lot of it is, like, it seems like hacks that shouldn't work. It's like, no, that's unbalanced. You can't do that. And it's like, yeah, you can. There's nothing in there's nothing in the physical laws that demand that they be balanced. Sometimes it's just cool, weird shit that's like, no, that can't possibly be right. And it is. It is right. And it's cool. I think especially, look, if you're coming at stuff, especially as a person who has not, like, got in-depth knowledge of a field, if you're learning about a field, as a person who just doesn't know that much, it's particularly important not to be cynical and to take the joy in learning and maintain that joy, because of the fact that it's so easy to be a cynic as someone who doesn't know anything about a field, and to just come off as an asshole, right? Like, I can tell you from so much direct personal experience that if you come at fields that you don't understand from a position of cynicism and, like, I don't know about that kind of stuff, like, it's usually you're gonna come off as an asshole. And I know this because, like, I've met me. Oh, okay, interesting. We actually don't have enough disarm skill, naturally, to open that. Why do we only have 4 disarm? Why did I not get myself more disarm? Okay, we might need to come back to this. Do I have a disarm item on me? I don't think I have a disarm item that I can just equip. I think we have the max bonus already, so we can't loot this yet. Let's see. What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to train and then walk back over and hope that we can actually walk back over. No. I don't know if I've sold any disarm items, but no. My disarm skill has a bonus of +4 right now, which is the maximum bonus that I can have with 4 skill. So we're definitely not in a situation where I screwed myself. We're definitely not in a situation where I screwed myself. However, I could, hypothetically, try doing the opposite of screwing myself by just doing this and seeing, does that give me 10 or 9? That gives me 10. That gives me 10. That's enough. We're golden. Fully golden. What percentage of your experience can be coming from EXP potions? It might be fun at some point to do a run where I just go crazy with, like, absolutely no restrictions whatsoever and just see how broken I can do. Like, how much I can break shit. Like, it might be fun to, like, do, like... just go... Just like a... You know, okay, well, I'm just gonna do all the consumables, all the bullshit. And, like... See if I can come up with, like, a coherent, easy way to just get infinite transcendence potions and shit like that. Like, optimize what my alchemy should be hovering at to, like, give me the best return on investment there. I'm wondering if the transcendence potions count toward bolster. So could I, like, use the transcendence potions to, like, skip an entire game and just walk over to their I think that might be, like, basically walk over there, use a transcendence potion on everybody, and then walk back out because I'm now 2 levels higher. Like, that might be a thing that I can make work. The reason that we're only giving them to Axolotl is because I'm incredibly lazy, and Axolotl will benefit from all stats. The stat drop from the disease doesn't matter. The thing that matters from the disease is the fact that it doubles my damage that's incoming, right? Like, this component is almost completely irrelevant. But yeah, I'm just doing that because I'm lazy. The disease will eventually come off. We are going back through Erathia after Deja. So no matter what happens, if we finish the first section of the run, anybody who's diseased is becoming undiseased. And in addition, the only person that I actually care about Curse being on, which right now doesn't impact me because Curse is broken, but will impact me once Curse gets fixed, is the Shaman. And so when Daggertooth gets the disease cleared, they're also going to be getting the Curse cleared as well. So it's actually like a really nice combination that it's like, okay, well, once we have successfully negotiated this part of the game, we're actually going to be fully in the clear. It is now 5:22 p.m. We did not become weak, so it's fine. It should be fully fine. We're going to save the game, and maybe we just go... Do we just take out Romthrax now? We could just go beat up Romthrax now.
Ow! Ow!
Because I don't think I'm going to reach the trainer in time. I can try to reach the trainer, which would be convenient. Like, it would be nice to hit up the trainer and get myself a little bit of extra resources to play with. Like, I might be able to get someone new, like the Arms Master skill or something like that. Let's at least try it. Let's try to get the trainer. Because I think they might close at 5, but they might close at 6. I don't remember which they close at. Let's see. We want to train after? Okay, we'll train after. The thing is that if we train after, we're probably training after the... We'll be training after the other thing, too. Because it doesn't matter, it's 56. We wouldn't be able to get there in time anyway. The thing that changes is what we are doing immediately afterward, because the thing that we're doing immediately afterward is going into one of the 2 dungeons that it's going to matter a lot for. But yeah, it's definitely closed now. So alchemy,
Personality, endurance. Let's see.
We could sell it.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. It does no damage, but is it worth it? Well, considering that it needs to do damage in order to do any healing, it's probably not worth it.
Who needs it?
We might tinker with that later. We don't need it right now, so it's not that big of a deal. So this is Imperial Leather of the Phoenix. This is 30 AC and fire resist. The enemy that we're fighting isn't doing fire damage.
It's worthless.
Dodge.
It's worthless. We could sell it.
Okay, this has a decent amount of stats on it. I'm going to go ahead and just equip this.
We could sell it.
I can't equip it on you. You need every piece of durability you can get, actually. Now that I think about it.
There's no room.
How about you? 10 endurance? Yeah, this is fine. It's 17 luck. Okay. Well, do we have any other... We do.
Who needs it? We could sell it.
Not terrible, not terrible. Do we have HP regen built in? Yes, we do. Why does this give me such a huge boost to my durability? That's a huge durability boost. Is it just from the 25 speed and the 8 armor? It does drop my fire resistance. It's just 8 armor. Like, the speed isn't even giving me extra armor. Oh, it is giving me... It's 8 AC is the amount that I had, and I'm getting +8 over +5. Yeah, I'm actually not sure why that's having such a huge impact, but I guess just that amount of AC is doing that on its own. Though it doesn't matter for what we're doing right now. For what we're doing right now, it's just kind of irrelevant. How much HP regen do we have now? 0.9. It's probably worth it just to get that AC boost. That'll matter for the next place that we're in. So it's worth doing.
I don't know it.
Wand.
Junk.
And we have some junk. Okay. Let's go slay the dragon. Let's see if I can actually do this. It's going to be really funny if I talk to Big Game about how easy it is to kill dragons, and then I come in here and get my ass kicked by this dragon. Okay, that's not great. That's really not great. Okay. Look, I haven't... I don't usually have to approach the dragon, okay? Probably make other potions. Okay. We need to go more... Do I want to use this corner, maybe? How am I getting hit by that? Ooh, I'm concerned. That was a really steep angle, so it's not surprising that the last one hit me. But I'm approaching the dragon while also dodging its attacks is non-trivial.
Okay, it's not completely non-trivial. Alright, let me see. How much HP do you have? You don't have very much. So if I get into melee range, I should probably be able... I will use potions to either sell or craft other potions. So I'm not going to use any black potions, just period. But mostly I'm just going to sell the potions, and some of them I'm going to use when I'm crafting later. I also use them as a reference, because if you have like a complex potion or a white potion, you can see what the ingredients for the next tier are from that. Damn. Okay. Yeah, we're not going to have to do this for very long, but I am a little concerned about the fact that it's moving toward that middle section. If I was doing a full Aldrea mode, I would not be using the potions that are dropping. I would be using exclusively empty bottles and reagents. But we're not doing a full Aldrea mode, so I don't have to give a shit about that. We don't even have Aldrea in the party. Aldrea mode is something that I've only ever done a couple of times. I did an Aldrea mode in Skyrim. The basic principle behind an Aldrea mode is that I don't use anything other than what I have crafted myself, or like a base material that I have mined myself. Damn. Okay, I do need to get into the... Oh, I am very out of practice. I cannot lean backward while I'm doing this. You behave a little bit differently than I would like. You're moving fast. Oh, it's because you're moving faster. Okay. So it's moving faster, which means that it's getting more distance between itself and me on each iteration. So the normal pattern doesn't work. I have to kind of do it on the fly, which is unfortunate. The homing projectiles are less of a problem, actually, than the movement speed increase. Weirdly enough. Yeah, you gotta lean forward, okay? You gotta lean forward.
What lies ahead?
Lean forward, cross your legs. You gotta do the whole shebang. If your feet are on the floor, what are you even doing with your life? Certainly not succeeding at the Vigima games, you know. We got this. We got this. It's going to take a few attempts for me to get a hang on getting into combat, and it's probably going to take a few attempts for me once I'm in combat. Did not go the right angle.
What lies ahead?
I'm misjudging the dodges on the approach really badly right now. I could just stand here and get it to come closer to me. No, I can't. But I can get it further away from the thing in the middle. Oh, fuck. Botched it. I botched it. Let's see. Yeah, it all just depends on, like, what the thing that is most, like... that makes your body as a distraction disappear the most, I would imagine. Which varies from person to person. I do think that leaning forward is a component just because it's like... the thing you're trying to look at and focus on is in front of you. God damn it. I have to get the angle perfectly for this. This is going to be real rough. The thing that is getting me is not the projectile homing. It's the combination of the projectile homing and the movement speed. Usually, the dragon isn't really moving between iterations. The dragon's usually almost completely stationary because I'm only out of range for like a very brief period. It's moving enough that it's causing a problem for me. I'm wondering if part of that is me messing things up and not the movement speed of the thing itself. Okay. Got saved on the approach. I'm not dying to melee. They don't have melee attacks. It's just shooting me in the head. Like, the center of mass where it's shooting the projectiles from is really high up. But unless they've changed the dragons, they don't have any melee attacks. The ones in 8 have melee attacks. Okay. Don't love that for me. Nope. This is a problem. We need to re-engage. Fuck. Okay. Okay, I know what I need to do now. So, I need to be... So, the change to the strat, because it's moving this fast, is that usually I go perpendicular. Or not perpendicular, that's the word. I'm usually going the opposite direction of its pathing to just make it not move. It's easier for me if the enemy just isn't moving at all. And is just staying stationary. The issue is that it is making my life harder than I want it to be. And I don't like that. And because it's moving as fast as it is, and it's doing the specific behavior that it's doing, in order to keep myself perfectly parallel with it, so that even through the tracking, I'm still dodging the attacks, I need to back away, rotate the same direction it's going, and just move alongside of it.
This will be fun.
Unfortunately, sometimes it's doing some weird shit. It started misbehaving there, and I don't know why. One issue is that I can't keep an eye on its movements very closely to see what changed there. Like, what... okay, we just fucked up the positioning there. I need to be moving almost exactly parallel to it in order to dodge its attacks. I might have gotten a little ahead there. If I got a little bit ahead, that might be what happened. If I get too far ahead, I'm not parallel enough, and it's shooting at an angle that it can hit me from. Damn it. Yeah, I think we can make this work. I just need to get the job done. My feet are back on the ground, by the way. And they're vibrating. My feet do be vibrating. It's tempting to just reload if I fuck up and get hit at the start. But there's only a 1 in 5 chance that it matters. I don't think so. MM7 has always been weird, and this works for MM7. The thing is that its movement speed means that I have to care what it's moving at, like how it's moving, because usually again I just keep it basically stationary, right? Like the typical way that I do this is like this, but I don't think that works because it gains too much distance when I'm doing the dodge, and even then, if I'm too close to this inside of its body, it seems to just blow me apart. Hey, Dead Riders. So the normal strat isn't quite working, which means that we need a slightly different strat that should work consistently. the inconsistent bit of this right now is me, not the strategy itself. The strategy is working. I'm just playing not badly.
What lies
Let's see. Disengaging is the most dangerous part. So trying to disengage to save is just that's not gonna work. The time it would take to save would basically kill me. It would take about the same amount of skill to basically survive through a normal fight with him as it does to try to disengage. Because when you're trying to disengage, you're hearing the audio cue, and then you're going perpendicular to where you think he currently is. Because you don't even know, because I don't even have Wizard Eye. I'm dead. Because I can't rotate around him for some reason. Rotating around isn't working. The way that I guess that does just come down to the thinger. Most likely, the easiest solution would be to just use this corner. Because if I could just pin him in the corner, I could just get it. I am really tempted to make this work the manual way. How much time do we have? We have about an hour. And I don't think the jumping is important, by the way. The jumping is something that I'm doing mostly because it makes it easier for me to keep track of the timing. Shit. Yeah, this is a strat that I think will work if I just get a good attempt in. And a good attempt involves what, like, it's somewhere between 20 and 100 iterations, I think, which isn't too bad. Like, this is something that if I get a good attempt in, I can finish this within like a minute or two. I was too far forward there, I think.
Let's go in.
Or too far behind, one of the two. I wasn't close enough to the boss at the beginning. Shit. Of the rotation up there. But I think we can make this work. Shit. Yeah, I was badly positioned there. I got the distance in at a awkward moment.
Let's go in.
It's kind of like when you're going to start like a run, which foot you put forward first matters a lot. Like when you're going to jump, like when you're trying to get a running jump, you can get like an awkward positioning where you put your foot down for the last the second to last footfall that you have, and you're like, this is an awkward angle for that last little bit. I did that there. Yeah, at this point, I think that I understand what I need to do. I'm just doing it badly. Like, I'm not implementing correctly. It doesn't help that I can't reorient myself when I get a bit lost. It doesn't help that there's this big thing in the middle either, if we're being honest. This big thing in the middle is a problem. I'm going to actually move around to this side. I think I should actually go to the inn and pick up some food and save on the other side of this. Because what I want is to be rotating the boss without having to deal with that thing in the middle. The thing in the middle is causing problems. It doesn't need to. Structurally, I don't think it really makes that huge difference. It's just a thing that is interfering with my spatial awareness. I'm going to check. I don't think that I can open this.
We can come back later.
Yeah, it's until 6 p.m. So if we had gotten here 15 minutes earlier, we could have trained a bit. And that would give us a couple of levels. I don't think it would have mattered. We don't have Day of the Gods or anything. Force the spawn of the 2 dragons in the back. What dragons in the back? I apparently can't enter your house through the cellar. I could try doing the other dungeons first and see if I could get the ability to survive a single hit, but I don't think I'm going to. I think that it's more reasonable to try to do this, especially since worst case scenario, I can always choose the dragon.
Come in, right away.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't even know about that mechanic. When you say green, do you mean like hostile dragons that are colored green, or do you mean friendly dragons? Or is it just like... Is this just like a random encounter? Because when you rest, you can run into random encounters. Is it just a random encounter? Huh. Well, I can't because resting is against the rules, but... It's not super relevant because it would break the rules, but it's interesting. Interesting.
I've never seen one before.
That is pretty interesting. Alright, I'm going to save this. We will... Oh, alright. Do I have to actually be, like, at the back area? Let me reload. We'll walk all the way to the back. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know about that. I think I might have run into that as a kid. Like, it seems vaguely familiar that, like, you could get ambushed here. Very deeply concerned about the fact that I'm not making the progress that I need. Yeah, you're moving in a weird direction now.
Okay, we'll see how this goes. Let's see. Shit. And now you're moving back the other direction. What the hell were you doing there? Yeah, ooh, that's concerning. Yeah, I didn't get a steep enough angle there. Can I... Maybe I do need to make this work. I would imagine that it's probably there to act as, like, a way of punishing you if you try to, like, rest to, like, cheese the fact that when you rest, you heal, but the enemies don't. I would imagine that's probably what it is. It might be an Easter egg, but I feel like it's probably there as, like, well, if you just run into the back of the dungeon to try to cheese it, then this happens. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't know that I have the consistency to get this down without spending longer on attempts than I'm actually willing to spend. The issue is that this is very difficult on my my hand to do for a really extended period, because you're making a lot of movement shifts in a very small time frame. Let's see. I also hold shift with my right hand, not my left, and I'm moving the camera with my right pinky. I wonder, do I try to get you into a corner somewhere? I didn't die. Okay, we got behind a corner. Alright, let's see. You're moving directly toward me, which is not what I was expecting. That was weird. What was going on there? You're gonna attack me from here, right? Yeah, that was weird. I'm gonna go back into that corner, because if I can, that makes setting up the corner way easier. I turned back too soon. Okay, let's just go the other. I think that I would have dodged that if not for the fact that I turned back into the trajectory. I might not have had a steep enough angle, but I'm very curious about this. Right? It seemed to be like approaching me, but not attacking for some reason. Well, it's doing it now. No such trouble now. I don't have water resistance as a spell. I should check how hard it's hitting. Shit. Okay. Yeah, basically what I would be looking for is to get it to one of these two, like, harsh corners. And if I can get it to one of the two corners, I should, in theory, be able to make this work. Maybe I should actually, because I'm not planning on using that routing anyway, maybe I should just reload the autosave, actually. It might be easier to do this from the autosave. Hey, Shiggles. It's going pretty okay so far. You know, we're fighting a dragon. I'm realizing that I lack the technical proficiency to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish here, which is a problem.
And rather than get good, I am taking on the strategy of being a little bit more cheesy. So, are you going to go into range to hit me? You surely are, right? Or you're going to do that. Okay, now you're going to be able to hit me. We dodge. We dodge. We don't dodge, apparently. Because I think I could probably just get you... Can I get you to approach far enough that... No. We're on the Dragon Cave in Tatalia. So it's still really early